I had the opportunity to play quarterback in high school at USC, 8 years in the NFL, and I absolutely loved it. But I got so wrapped up in that identity as being the football player, the quarterback, that when it went away, something within me also went away as a form of my identity. How's that sound?
Yeah, it's good.
Jim, was your identity too wrapped up into being a baseball player?
I think maybe I made the mistake of being a little bit too caught up in success. You know, it seems to fill these, I don't know if there are holes in our self-esteem and who we are. I think it glosses over some things. And you know, the paradox to me, the irony maybe, is I found losing to be more instructive in terms of learning about yourself. Because winning only makes you want to win more. It only, you know, you just want more of it. Yeah, and it's
almost like an addict. Give me more.
Yeah,
give me more.
yeah,
give me more.
Yeah,
The human condition.
You have that joy, and then you want more, and you want more, and you want more, and it really helps. I mean, it really helps you to feel good about yourself, and those successes certainly become a big part of who you are. But you know, I was with the Angels. I did fairly well to be my first 4 years. My record went up and down, but I pitched well. And then I went to New York in the bright lights of New York City and the Yankee organization, and I didn't pitch that well. I pitched okay, and I had some struggles. I didn't meet the expectations of a big trade, and so it was the first time I had to grapple a little bit with you know, negativity, negative feedback. I wasn't just this inspiring story and this, you know, and a funny thing happened. A guy at the middle of the season for the New York Times wrote an article, and he gave every Yankee a grade for the season, you know, up to that point. And he gave me a C, I think. I don't remember the exact grade.
But it wasn't super positive.
It wasn't an A or a B.
It wasn't super positive.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the little synopsis of the season so far, he described me as an underachiever. And I took it to heart. You know, I really was like, whoa, you know, you can say that I haven't pitched well, but I don't know how you can say I'm an underachiever.
So it kind of pissed you off?
It did piss me off. And so I confronted him in the Yankee locker room. And I know him to this day. Jack Curry's great, super good guy, and you know, is a well-respected voice in the game. And I you know, I said, hey, you know, underachiever,
Right.
and he stood by it. And he said, well, you know, I don't think of you as a one-handed pitcher. I think of you as a quality left-handed pitcher, and to this point, you have underachieved that talent. And he was exactly right. He was exactly right. Right? In that moment, in some small way, I had almost looked for the excuse of having one hand, like, you know, protecting myself from the scrutiny.
Hey, look what I've done. I've only had one hand.
Right.
I got this far.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the case.
Right.
You know, going back to what my dad had said, you know, more's been given than taken away. That's your responsibility. Not this, you know, it's you got it. You have it. Mm-hmm. So that was the first time that I confronted that, you know, like that willingness to go to the excuse. And I was really disappointed in myself. I was really disappointed. And it's a small story, but I still think about it a lot, you know. I can't rely on that, you know. We were more responsible to the talent that we've been given than any sort of setback. You know, just keep pushing to hold yourself accountable to that.
But we're, as human beings, we tend to want to protect ourselves, right, from criticism. I mean, it's the "I confess he did it," mindset that I think most people have.
Yeah.
Instead of holding ourselves fully accountable, fully responsible for everything that we've done, that's a really empowered place to be and to come from. And so that sounds like a very valuable lesson that you learned, because it'd be easy for you to do that. Say, wait a minute, are you kidding me?
Well, especially because the narrative has already been built for
That's
you,
right.
This guy has done so much to overachieve,
Right.
to
That's
get
right.
here with what little he was given, or what he, was perceived as little to be
Right.
given, because he got a live.
You were buying into your own narrative.
Then I could
Right.
hide behind it.
Yeah.
You
Right.
could hide behind it, and if you can't be brutally honest with yourself, if you can't evaluate performance, if you go out and play a round of golf and you make a bunch of putts and, you forget about all the, bad shot, you can't get better. You can't address where weakness is. And so I really believe in really honest evaluation and brutal evaluation. And it's hard, because you're right. It's easy to go to the excuse. It's easy to say, well, this is why.
I had a bad day.
Yeah.
Or my wife yelled at me.
Right. And truthfully, professional sports push you to that, probably in a lot of ways that we don't always get pushed to in our regular lives. But I do try to carry those lessons forward.
So your identity at that point was the identity of a guy who had overachieved to become a major leaguer. And so we talk a lot with our company about personal identity and how we are more than one thing. However, I think maybe a positive thing in personal identity, in your case, might have been that seeing yourself as a baseball player as a kid gave you an identity that helped you to grow and kind of overcome challenges that we throw. Would you agree with that? Would you agree the idea of being able to fit in as a baseball player and making that your identity was a positive thing in your life?
Hugely. To be on a team, to be a part of something, to have success. When I had those, uncomfortable moments of being different, and that was my chance to fight back. I could always revert to that I'm a pretty good pitcher.
Right.
I may not be scoring with all the girls at the moment, and I may be getting that awkward second glance down a high school hallway, or like you said, kids can be brutal, but that success in sports, it meant a lot. It propped me up, and I'm not ashamed to enjoy that, and it meant a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. Because the other side of that would have been, well, the guy who can't play because he's got a disability, and that becomes your personal identity if you let that become, which you obviously didn't do, because you achieved and got yourself, up to the pinnacle in a big league ballpark.
But isn't that what we all need to do? We need to find that place where we're good at something. We love what we're doing, which brings us confidence, which brings us belief, which props us up, as you said, Jim, which can carry over into other areas of life once we have that.
Yes.
Isn't that what we all need to strive for, to find that place?
I think you tapped into something really strong there. We talking about meeting all those kids in major league stadiums and meeting those parents and the profound impact that those meetings had. And the questions, the parents asked me about my parents and what had they said, what were their words of encouragement. But seeing those kids, the boys and girls, some of them had Little League jerseys on, some of them didn't, some of them hung onto their mom's leg, but the funny thing, it's exactly what you say. They all loved something. They all loved something. And the things, as I've gotten letters and corresponded with them, since, and seen them grow up, they're motorcycle racers and MMA fighters and basketball players and they're just doing amazing things that you never would have guessed. So they did find that thing. There always seemed to be that hunger of finding that one thing that you love, that you think about before you go to sleep, and that you think about when you wake up in the morning. And it provides that drive and that mission and that sense of purpose.
That's awesome. There is a double-edged sword. because when you're putting the eggs in that baseball basket, it eventually is going to go away. How did you respond to the end of your career? Because you had carved yourself out this identity as a professional baseball player, and now it was gone. Mm-hmm. How did you deal with that part of your life?
It was very difficult. People go through a lot harder things than transitioning out of Major League Baseball. But you're right. When all your eggs are in that basket, and then that basket's empty, where do you turn? And so I read a lot, and I really tried to make sense of blessings. I really tried to focus on, what I had rather than what was gone. Right. My family, right. My daughters, right. Their achievements, their goals, their lives, which ultimately means so much more to us than anything we ever did, right? And turning to that really helped a lot. And then my speaking really helped me to sit down and say, okay, if I'm going to get up in front of people and share something, I want to share something honest. And what happened? Whoa, boy. I mean, it's over. That whirlwind's over. What did I learn? Who meant something to me? What lessons meant something to me? If I'm going to, put myself on this podium, you better try to be honest. And so all those things together helped me to move away from, the game that I loved and really missing it a lot.
Yeah, because at that point you do come to realize you're not just a baseball player, you're a husband, you're a dad, you're now a public speaker, and through your public speaking you're able to provide people some wisdom that you've learned along the way, and all those things fill that hole, right? That hole of not being a baseball player, and pretty soon that hole's gone.
Yeah.
What I like to talk about with people is, because we all have these identities, right? And you're a husband, you're a father, you're a son, which I always hate the term, former professional athlete, that whole former thing. But you're a professional speaker. But let's just take all of those things away, all those identities that you have, Jim, and what's left is the true Jim. So who is the true Jim? What's left after you take away all those identities? Who is Jim?
That's a good question. Who is Jim? I suppose, I like to think of myself as someone who's trying to be a positive presence in other people's lives. That's trying to give back in some way, and not be someone who's taking all the time. I know that there's a big difference between how we see ourselves and how we actually act and how other people see us. I know there's a big difference between how I see myself and my wife sees me, but but at the end of the day, I really, feel like try to bring good intentions to each and every day and try to be present and just absorb. I want to be in the moment and whatever pathways I can find to do that. Hopefully that's the true me. With
it is.
Appreciation and gratitude, I guess is.
I see that in you. I see a real humble individual, a giving person, a caring person, someone that gives people the time. And you don't often see that with the people that have achieved such success that you had. So keep being you.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
This is the part where we're supposed to tell people to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay, will you please do that then? I mean,
Yeah.
if you enjoy it,
Yeah.
please do.
And if you don't, do it anyways, because we need your help.
Yeah, we do.
Also, we have a website called GameChangeNation.com. Just go there and subscribe and you'll get tons of free content.
And what we're really trying to do is create a community of people that love sports.
Yep.
And the great lessons that we learn from sports, but we want to hear from you.
We do. So we're going to have a bunch of social media pages from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter to Facebook. Instagram, I probably already said all of them. Please join them and tell us your stories. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and we wrote a book.
Oh,
Forgot about that.
Forgot that.
The book is called Through the Tunnel. It's available on Amazon now. If you go straight down here to this link that you can see below us, you will be able to purchase it. We'd love it if you could do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.